First Contact's challenge. The klaxons blared through the Movav Advanced Engineering Complex at 300 hours. Dr. Natasha Rivera jolted awake at her desk, schematics for the new particle accelerator still glowing on her holographic display. The warning system hadn't activated in years, not since that earthquake in '42. Dr. Rivera to command center immediately. The AI's voice echoed through the facility. Unknown object entering atmosphere on direct collision course. Natasha grabbed her tablet and ran, her heart pounding against her ribs. The midnight skeleton crew scrambled through the corridors, their footsteps echoing off steel walls. Through the reinforced windows, she saw it, a streak of purple fire cutting across the desert sky. The object crashed 3 kilometers from the facility's perimeter, leaving a trail of exotic metal and crystalline debris. Within minutes, Natasha and her rapid response team approached in hazmat suits, their sensors drinking in data from the wreckage. Life signs detected, announced Dr. Raj Patel, his dark eyes fixed on his scanner. But they're fading fast. The crashed vessel's hull had a bizarre organic quality, like liquid metal frozen in mid-flow. As they approached, a section simply dissolved, revealing a humanoid figure inside. It was tall and slender, with iridescent skin that seemed to shift colors with each labored breath, its large eyes fixed on Natasha with an unsettling intelligence. "I am Ambassador Zinra of the Vrithi Confederation," it managed in perfect English, though no mouth moved. The words simply appeared in their minds. "Our quantum drive failed. Need stabilization." The ambassador's body began to flicker like a bad hologram, parts of it seeming to exist in multiple places at once. Natasha's instruments went crazy, showing quantum field disruptions she'd only seen theorized in papers. "The ambassador's molecular structure is destabilizing," Raj said urgently. "Some kind of quantum entanglement accident. We need to get them to containment now." "Our medical technology cannot help," Zinra projected weakly. "Vrithi physiology. Too different. Quantum stabilization matrix required." Natasha's mind raced. The facility had been researching quantum fields, yes, but nothing capable of stabilizing a living being. The Vrithi clearly possessed technology far beyond human understanding. Yet here they were, their ambassador dying because their advanced systems had failed. "Get me a portable particle containment field from Lab 7, Natasha ordered. "And I need the prototype magnetic resonance chamber prepped." She turned to the ambassador. "We might not have your level of technology, but sometimes the simplest solutions work best." Over the next 12 hours, Natasha and her team worked frantically to jury-rig a quantum stabilization system using their primitive human technology. They'd repurposed particle containment fields, modified MRI machines, and wrote entirely new algorithms on the fly. It wasn't elegant. Exposed wires ran everywhere, cooling systems vented steam, and the power draw nearly crashed the facility's grid. But it worked. The ambassador's quantum state slowly stabilized. The flickering stopped. Color returned to their iridescent skin. "Impossible," Zinra projected, studying the hodgepodge of human technology keeping them alive. "Our scientists spent decades perfecting quantum stabilization matrices. How did you achieve this with such basic tools?" Natasha smiled as she adjusted a particularly vital connection, held together with duct tape. "Humans have a saying, necessity is the mother of invention. We're good at finding unexpected solutions. Perhaps," Zinra projected thoughtfully, "we have underestimated your species. Our long-range scans showed only primitive fission reactors and chemical rockets. We thought you too technologically immature for contact. Yet you achieved in hours what our finest minds took years to perfect, simply by thinking differently." More Vrithi ships arrived within days, drawn by the ambassador's distress signal. They'd brought their advanced medical technology, but were astounded to find it unnecessary. The human jury-rigged solution was crude but undeniably effective. As Natasha watched the Vrithi technical experts study her team's improvised quantum stabilizer with a mixture of disbelief and growing respect, she realized this was just the beginning. Humanity had proven itself in the most human way possible, by solving an impossible problem with duct tape, ingenuity, and stubborn determination. The ambassador's accident had opened the door to something greater. Now humanity would show the galaxy what they could really do, one impossible solution at a time. The impossible project. With all due respect, Ambassador, this is absurd. Chief Engineer Marcus Gallagher glared at the holographic specifications floating above the conference table. Your people haven't even told us how your quantum drives work, but you expect us to build a stabilization facility in 3 months. 2 weeks had passed since the crash, and the Mojave complex had transformed. Sleek Vrithi ships now dotted the desert landscape like chrome teardrops, their crews mixing uneasily with the human scientists and engineers who'd been pulled in from facilities worldwide. Ambassador Zinra's skin rippled with shades of deep blue. What the humans had learned indicated concern. The Confederation Council has agreed to share some technical specifications, but they believe your civilization lacks the necessary technological foundation to construct a proper quantum stabilization facility. Then why ask us to build it? Marcus demanded, his weathered face flushing. Politics, Natasha answered from her seat, understanding dawning. This is a test, isn't it? The ambassador's skin shifted to a pearlescent white. Acknowledgement. Many on the council believe the success with my treatment was an aberration. They require proof that humans can contribute meaningfully to Confederation technology. Marcus ran his fingers through his gray-streaked hair. So they've given us an impossible task to prove their point. Brilliant. But Natasha was already studying the specifications with growing excitement. Maybe not impossible. Look at their approach. It's all about achieving perfect quantum alignment through brute computational force. But what if we thought smaller? She stood, fingers flying across her tablet. The hologram transformed, showing a radically different design. Instead of one massive quantum field, we create thousands of tiny interconnected fields. Each one simpler, easier to maintain. Like a net instead of a wall. The Vrithi technical advisor, Telleric, made a sound like crystalline wind chimes, their version of dismissive laughter. The power requirements alone would be negligible if we use metamaterials to create quantum resonance chambers, interrupted Dr. Yuki Tanaka, the facility's materials scientist. Her eyes were bright with possibility. We've been developing them for the particle accelerator. They're crude compared to your technology, but they're incredibly efficient at maintaining quantum states. The next 12 weeks became a blur of innovation and improvisation. While the Vrithi watched with barely concealed skepticism, the human team tore apart their existing projects and rebuilt them into something new. They worked in shifts around the clock, fueled by coffee and the desire to prove themselves. Marcus led the engineering teams in constructing a honeycomb of smaller chambers, each one lined with Yuki's metamaterials. Natasha and Raj developed new algorithms that allowed the fields to work in concert, supporting each other like a web of quantum interactions. The Vrithi's doubt began to waver when the first test succeeded. By the end of the second month, even Telleric was grudgingly providing technical advice, fascinated by the unorthodox human approach. Your solution is inelegant, Telleric observed, watching the quantum field patterns dance across the monitoring screens. Yet it achieves stability ratings comparable to our finest facilities. How? Marcus grinned as he tightened a connection. Sometimes inelegant is better. Nature doesn't care about elegant. Look at human biology. It's a mess of interconnected systems that shouldn't work nearly as well as they do, but here we are. The facility was completed 3 days ahead of schedule. When the Confederation inspection team arrived, their dismissive attitude quickly turned to astonishment. The human design didn't just work. In some ways, it worked better than traditional Vrithi approaches. Your distributed field architecture, the lead inspector admitted, offers redundancies our systems lack. If one section fails, the others compensate automatically. It's surprisingly robust. Natasha watched the inspection team huddle with the ambassador, their skin colors shifting rapidly, and what she'd learned was intense debate. They still don't quite get it, do they? She asked Marcus quietly. He shook his head. They keep looking for the elegant solution, the perfect answer. They don't understand that humans excel at finding the good enough solution and making it work. Perhaps that's what we can teach them, Ambassador Zinra projected, approaching silently. Their skin now rippled with colors Natasha had never seen before, new emotions the translator couldn't quite capture. The Council has approved the next phase of cooperation. We would like to establish a joint research facility here. Joint facility. Marcus raised an eyebrow. You mean you'll actually share your technology with us now? Share, yes, and learn from you in return. The ambassador's skin settled into a deep gold. Your species has shown us that there is value in alternative approaches. The universe is vast, and there may be problems that cannot be solved with elegant solutions alone. As the humans and Vrithi began planning their joint venture, Natasha couldn't help but smile. They'd passed the test, but more importantly, they'd shown that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in their technology. It was in their ability to think differently, to find unexpected paths to success. The real challenge was just beginning. Crisis point. The first warning came from the Vrithi's long-range sensors. Dr. Kira Volkov was reviewing quantum field data when every screen in the joint facility's control room suddenly flashed red. Massive solar ejection detected, the facility's AI announced. Estimated impact in 6 hours, 13 minutes. Kira watched in horror as the visualization showed the incoming coronal mass ejection, the largest ever recorded. The Vrithi's predictive models painted a grim picture. The storm would overwhelm both human and alien shielding technology. Our quantum fields will destabilize, Telric projected urgently, their skin cycling through warning colors. The human power grid will collapse. We must evacuate. There's no time, Kira interrupted, fingers flying across her console. That storm will fry every satellite in orbit. Half our ships won't even clear the atmosphere before it hits. The joint facility had grown considerably over the past months. Nearly 3,000 personnel, human and Vrithi alike, now worked in the sprawling complex. Evacuation was impossible. Marcus burst into the control room, tablet in hand. The Vrithi quantum cores are already showing fluctuations from the leading edge of the storm. We've got maybe 5 hours before total failure. Ambassador Zinra's skin had taken on a deep violet hue, the closest thing to fear Kira had ever seen from them. Without the quantum cores, our people here will begin to destabilize. We cannot survive in your gravity well without them. Natasha, who had been quietly studying the data, suddenly straightened. What if we combine our technologies? Your quantum fields are more advanced, but our containment systems are more robust. The power requirements would be astronomical, Telric objected. Your fission reactors cannot. Not fission, Marcus interrupted, catching Natasha's train of thought. The particle accelerator. We can modify it to act as a massive electromagnetic pump, channel the storm's own energy against itself. What followed was perhaps the most frantic engineering sprint in human history. As the storm approached, humans and Vrithi worked side by side, breaking down technological barriers that had separated their species. Kira led the software team, writing new protocols to merge human and Vrithi control systems. The elegant alien code meshed with brutal human efficiency, creating something entirely new. Marcus and Telric's engineering teams raced to physically connect their technologies, human welders working alongside Vrithi energy shapers. The quantum resonance is still unstable, Telric projected, 4 hours into their work. Their skin flickered with exhaustion. The fields keep collapsing. Because you're trying to maintain perfect alignment, Kira said, not looking up from her code. Stop fighting the chaos. Let it flow through the system like water. Telric's skin shifted to a puzzled blue. That defies all established quantum theory. Theory's great until reality punches you in the face, Marcus grunted as he sealed another connection. Sometimes you have to work with a mess instead of trying to clean it up. With 30 minutes to spare, they activated the hybrid system. The particle accelerator hummed to life, its electromagnetic field merging with the Vrithi quantum matrices in ways that shouldn't have been possible. Human ingenuity met alien precision, creating something greater than either. When the solar storm hit, it hit hard. The sky turned green with aurora, and every unprotected electronic device within 1,000 miles fried instantly. But inside the facility, the impossible hybrid of human and Vrithi technology held. The quantum cores stabilized. The power grid survived. As hours passed and the storm raged overhead, humans and Vrithi watched their joint creation weather forces that should have destroyed them both. "I'm detecting something unexpected," Natasha announced near the storm's peak. "The hybrid field isn't just protecting us, it's actually growing stronger. The quantum matrices are learning from the chaos." Telric's skin rippled with colors that the translators couldn't process. "Impossible. Quantum fields cannot evolve." "Apparently nobody told them that," Kira said with a tired smile. "Sometimes the best solutions are the ones that break all the rules." As the storm finally began to fade, Ambassador Zinra approached the exhausted team. Their skin glowed with a color none of them had seen before, a deep, resonant gold touched with swirling patterns of light. "The Confederation Council will want to study this hybrid technology," they projected. "You have created something unprecedented, a true merger of our approaches that exceeds both." "We created it together," Natasha corrected gently. "Neither of us could have done this alone." Marcus laughed. "Yeah, turns out when you combine Vrithi precision with human chaos, you get something pretty special." Indeed, the ambassador's skin shifted to show hints of green, amusement. "Though I suspect this is only the beginning of what our species can achieve together." As the facility hummed with its new hybrid energy, humans and Vrithi alike realized a fundamental truth. The greatest innovations often come not from perfection, but from embracing the unexpected, the chaotic, the seemingly impossible. The storm had forced them to break down the barriers between their technologies and their ways of thinking. What they built in its wake would change both their civilizations forever. Breaking physics. 2 months after the solar storm, Director Wai Zhao stood before the assembled human Vrithi research team, his weathered face serious. Behind him, a hologram showed something that should have been impossible, a stable wormhole created in the facility's new hybrid testing chamber. It lasted for 3.8 microseconds, he announced to the stunned audience, small enough to pass a single quantum particle, but stable. The first artificially created wormhole in human history. In any species' history, Telric corrected, their skin shimmering with excitement. The Confederation has tried for centuries to achieve stable micro-wormholes. We believed it theoretically impossible without computer systems far more advanced than either of our species possess. Natasha stepped forward, her eyes bright with possibility. "That's because everyone's been trying to force stability through computational power. But our hybrid system proved that controlled chaos can be more effective than brute force precision." The discovery had been accidental, as humanity's greatest discoveries often were. While studying the effects of their hybrid shield technology, they'd noticed quantum tunneling effects orders of magnitude beyond anything previously recorded. Something about the merger of human and Vrithi approaches had created a new phenomenon entirely. "The question is," Marcus said, "can we scale it up?" The next 3 months transformed the facility into something that would have been unrecognizable to either species a year ago. Humans and Vrithi worked seamlessly now, their different approaches complementing rather than conflicting. Kira led the programming team in developing what she called quantum chaos algorithms, code that deliberately introduced controlled instability into the Vrithi's perfect systems. The results defied conventional physics. "It's like jazz," she tried explaining to a confused Telric. "Classical music follows rigid rules, but Jazz knows when to break them. We're teaching quantum physics to improvise. The breakthrough came during test number 2187. They had scaled up the hybrid system to create a wormhole the size of a penny. It was stable for nearly 30 seconds, long enough to send a probe through. The other side, Wei announced, reading the probe's data with shaking hands, appears to be the Alpha Centauri system. We've just transmitted matter faster than light. The celebration that followed ignored all species barriers. Humans and Vrithi alike cheered, their victory shared. Even Telric's normally reserved demeanor cracked, their skin blazing with colors of joy. But it was only the beginning. Over the next weeks, they pushed the boundaries further. The wormholes grew larger, more stable. The hybrid technology evolved in ways neither species had imagined possible. We're not just breaking physics, Natasha observed one night, watching a basketball-sized wormhole shimmer in the test chamber. We're rewriting it. The chaos in our system isn't a bug, it's a feature. The universe itself operates on controlled chaos. The Confederation Council arrived to inspect their progress, expecting to find an interesting theoretical exercise. What they found instead was a working prototype for revolutionary FTL travel. This will change everything. Ambassador Zinra projected as they watched the latest test. A wormhole large enough for a small ship glowed in the chamber, completely stable. Our species have grown so far apart across the galaxy because conventional FTL travel takes years. With this, we could reach any Confederation world in days. Assuming they accept the technology, Marcus pointed out, some of your people still aren't comfortable with how we achieve these results. The ambassador's skin rippled with what humans had learned was determination. They will accept it because they must. The universe is too vast for any one approach to be sufficient. Together, we are achieving what neither of us could alone. Wei stepped forward, studying the wormhole with quiet pride. You know what this means, don't you? We're ready for the next phase. Everyone knew what he meant. They had proven the technology at small scale. Now it was time to build something bigger, much bigger. A joint human Vrithi shipyard, Natasha said, voicing what they were all thinking. To build vessels that can use this technology to its full potential. Telric's skin showed colors of both excitement and concern. The engineering challenges will be immense. No one has ever built ships designed to handle controlled quantum chaos. Good thing you've got humans on your team then, Kira grinned. Handling chaos is what we do best. As they began planning their most ambitious project yet, the team reflected on how far they'd come. A year ago, the Vrithi had considered humans barely worthy of contact. Now they were equal partners in pushing the boundaries of what was possible. The universe, it seemed, had a sense of humor. It had taken a crisis to bring their species together, but in doing so, it had opened up possibilities neither had imagined. Their different approaches, once seen as incompatible, had proven to be exactly what was needed to solve the universe's greatest challenges. The future beckoned, full of chaos and possibility. Together, they would meet it head-on. Legacy of innovation. The prototype vessel hung in the desert sky like a dream made real. Named Synthesis, it was neither human nor Vrithi in design, but something entirely new. Its quantum crystalline hull rippled with controlled chaos patterns, the hybrid drive systems pulsing with energy that defied conventional physics. But not everyone was celebrating its completion. This abomination cannot be allowed to represent the Confederation. High Counselor Ventax's hologram blazed with colors of outrage during the emergency council session. You've corrupted our pure quantum technology with human irregularities. Those irregularities, Director Wei responded calmly, are exactly what made it work. The universe isn't pure, Counselor. It's beautifully, perfectly imperfect. The debate had been raging for weeks. While many in the Confederation embraced the hybrid technology, a powerful conservative faction saw it as a threat to their technological philosophy. They demanded the project be shut down, the research classified, and human Vrithi cooperation limited to safer ventures. Then the rift appeared. It started as a quantum disturbance in the Confederation's core systems, a tear in space-time that began consuming everything in its path. Conventional Vrithi ships couldn't get close enough to study it. Pure quantum fields collapsed in its presence. The rift's expansion is accelerating. Telric projected, their skin pale with worry as they studied the incoming data. At current rates, it will reach Earth's sector within 6 months. Unless we stop it, Natasha said, looking up at the synthesis. Our hybrid technology might be the only thing that can survive those conditions. The decision was made. Despite the Council's objections, the synthesis would attempt humanity's first official flight, straight into the heart of the crisis. The crew selection sparked nearly as much controversy as the ship itself. Captain Laura Chen, a former asteroid miner turned test pilot, would command. Telric would serve as quantum systems officer, with Kira handling the hybrid computers. Marcus insisted on going as chief engineer, arguing that someone needed to keep the impossible running. They made the journey in stages, testing the new drive system's capabilities. The ship performed better than anyone had dared hope. The quantum chaos field adapted to challenges in real time, growing stronger with each jump. When they reached the rift, the sight stunned them all. A massive tear in reality itself, swallowing light and matter alike. Normal ships couldn't approach within 1,000,000 kilometers. The synthesis pushed forward. Quantum chaos field holding steady. Kira reported, her fingers dancing across interfaces that merged human intuition with Vrithi precision. The rift's trying to disrupt us, but our irregularities are actually helping. They're too random for it to predict and counter. We're detecting something at the center, Telric projected. Their skin showed colors of scientific fascination overriding fear. It appears to be a quantum singularity, but impossibly complex. Captain Chen's eyes narrowed as she studied the readings. Not complex. Natural. This is what quantum fields look like in nature, isn't it? Raw and chaotic. We've been trying to tame them, when we should have been learning to dance with them. What followed would be recorded in both human and Vrithi history. Using principles learned from their hybrid technology, the crew of Synthesis found a way to communicate with the rift itself. It wasn't a tear in space-time. It was a natural phenomenon, a quantum storm that had been building for millennia. Their chaotic but controlled approach allowed them to guide the storm, directing its energy safely into nearby stellar masses. The rift collapsed, leaving behind a wealth of new scientific data about the nature of space-time itself. When they returned, the Council's opposition crumbled. The success of synthesis proved beyond doubt that the future lay not in preserving technological purity, but in embracing new combinations. Perhaps, High Counselor Ventax admitted during the mission debrief, their skin showing humble colors. We have been too rigid in our thinking. The universe itself seems to favor creative solutions. The joint shipyard became a reality, producing vessels that pushed the boundaries of what both species thought possible. The human Vrithi hybrid technology revolutionized everything from computing to medicine, opening up new frontiers of science. But the true legacy went deeper than technology. It was about two species learning that their differences were not weaknesses but strengths, that perfection could be found in imperfection, and that the most elegant solutions sometimes came from embracing chaos. 5 years after the crashed ship that started it all, Ambassador Zinris stood with Natasha watching new hybrid vessels take flight from the desert facility. Their skin showed colors of deep satisfaction. You know what truly made this work? They projected softly. Not just our combined technology, but our combined perspectives. Humans taught us to see beauty in chaos, to find strength in adaptation rather than perfection. Natasha smiled, watching a test ship open a stable wormhole large enough for a fleet. And you taught us to find precision in our chaos, to channel our creativity with purpose. Together, the ambassador projected, we have created something greater than either of us imagined. Not by conquering chaos or enforcing order, but by finding harmony between them. Above them, the desert sky filled with ships that defied traditional physics, carrying the combined legacy of human ingenuity and Vrithi wisdom to the stars. They were no longer two species working together, but pioneers of a new way of thinking that would reshape the galaxy. The universe, vast and mysterious, beckoned with endless possibilities, and together they were ready to explore them all, one impossible solution at a time.